Hello, hello. Hi, friends. Happy Hall of Fame. Listen, there's lots of places you could be, whether you're here in person or you're streaming, hanging out with us out there wherever you are. We're so appreciative for you being with us today, and it's going to be a good couple days. I'm so excited to introduce you to my client, but more my friend, Betsy Gardner. Come on over here. Come stand with me. You look adorable. Betsy is my great friend. I'm so happy to have you on this campus. Hang out with us. Yeah, grab it. It's like a little talk show. I think it's on.
I'm so happy to
be here. There you go.
Here.
Yeah, welcome. Can we give Betsy a warm, full sail welcome?
Thank you.
In your 10th year, you're the CEO of the Winter Park Chamber of Commerce.
That's correct.
When you guys are entering the job market or trying to get some intel on what it takes to stand out, this is who you want to be talking to and who you want to be absorbing the ideas from. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. So in addition to the Winter Park Chamber, Betsy's been hard at work on some very exciting projects that you'll learn about today. Human in the Room. I'm not going to officially introduce it. I'm going to let you do that. But we're in a really interesting time, aren't we? Trying to figure out what it takes to stand out in the room, streaming. We've also got, we've got grads here. We've got students. AI is making all of this a little more complicated. I know that in Betsy's presence, you're going to leave with confidence today and optimism about how to tackle all of this and how to stand out. So once again, I'm going to leave you to give us a little bit of a message, and I'll come back and join you on stage for a Q&A. But I'll leave you to it. Let's give her one more very warm, full sail welcome. I'll be back.
Thank
See you in a few
Phil.
minutes.
Yeah, we're going to have a conversation at the end of this, but I want to say how privileged I am to be here with you today. Thank you to Full Sail for having me. I've got some work I'm really passionate about to share with you today. But first, I want to start with a story. And it's a story of someone who's not too far off the age you are right now, who was working as an intern at an insurance company that does over $100 million a year in their top line revenue. And he was fortunate enough to have a summer internship there, and I knew his mom. And his mom said, hey, I know you know the CEO of this company. I work with over 800 companies. I know a lot of CEOs. She said, would you please talk to the CEO and put in a good word for my son? And I said, well, of course I will, because I'm always eager to help out young people however I can and to engage my network however I can. So I went to the CEO and I said, hey, this young professional has been an intern with you all over the summer, and he's applied for a permanent role in your company. I'm calling because his mom asked me to put in a good word for him. He said, he won't be staying on here. And I thought, wow, did you have sex in the bathroom, or what did you do that made it an untenable position for you to move forward in this company? He said, do you want to know why he's not staying here? I said, yeah, I really do. He said, because every time I would pass him in the hallway, coming and going from a meeting or the bathroom or something super casual, I'd ask him, hey, how are you? And this young professional would say to the CEO of a $100 million company, it's chill. I love your face. That's the perfect face. That's the perfect face for this moment. So it's chill is the wrong thing to say to somebody who's the CEO of a $100 million company. $100 million company CEOs are the least chill people on the entire planet. They've been hired to manage risk, to manage liability, to figure out what happens when things go wrong. They are the opposite of chill. So if you are a young person who's misread the entire situation and projected that you're chill in front of someone who's not, how much trust exists between you and that person? None. And business runs on trust. It's the currency that is the engine of all of business transactions, right? And what people are trying to do with marketing and social media and clicks and all of that is to win your trust, win your attention, and convert that attention into trust. So imagine being not too far off from this person's age and being passed over not for your technical competency, because he had plenty of it, not for your relationships, because he had plenty of those too, but because he misread the room and before he even had a chance to prove himself, prove that he wasn't somebody that CEO could trust. This is the world we're living in now. And this artifact that I'm talking about today is an artifact of what we call soft skills. And at the end of today, I want you to be thinking about how you're showing up differently and how you're leveraging a set of soft skills, because for the rest of your life, no one will ever doubt your technical competency because you graduated from Full Sail. That's what you're paying for, right? No one will ever doubt whether or not you can sound edit or film edit or video edit or do any of the things that I probably don't even know that happen here, right? But those are the things that I hire people to do. And I need to trust the people that I hire to align with my brand, to make sure that there's no risk that we're incurring in the execution of that project. And that's what people who are like me, who are CEOs and decision makers about purchasing, that's how we think. And we are not chill, all right? So not because you lack the technical skills, but because you lack the soft skills. Now, why should you care about soft skills? Don't take my word for it. I want you to think about this. The annual cost of soft skills failure is already $1.5 trillion. That's trillion with a T. And it comes, I like your face again. It comes down to lost productivity, turnover costs, and then, of course, miscommunications, right? So what I want to talk to you about today is how we can use a system of executing very specific soft skills to help you stand out in a job market that, watch this, has the least amount of trust for your generation in the history of people measuring trust, and also has the highest rate of young professional unemployment in the history of measuring unemployment. Now, here's what's wrong with that. The first piece is, yes, there's a trust gap that exists between decision makers, hiring managers, and you. But there's also a problem that's been created by AI. You've heard that AI is going to take your job. Here's what's even worse. AI is going to take your job before you can even have a job. So I want you to listen to what I just said. Take your job before you can even have a job. But there's really good news, all right? Now, the young people that I've worked with came out of an MBA program, and they came to work for me, and they became a slave to Canva or Adobe Express, right? Those were the two things they had to work on. And they had to do what? Make slides, edit video, do really boring, droll, like just routine stuff. Well, what they were doing in that routine, boring stuff is proving to people up the chain in their workplace that they could be trusted with the little things so they could go on and be trusted with the big things. Here's what's wrong now. Can you guys make slides with a keystroke on Claude or ChatGPT now? Of course you can, right? So we don't need to hire people to do that. What we need to do is hire people to read behind that slide making process, to understand if these slides are accurate, if they reflect our brand, if the ethos of our organization is pushing through these slides, and more importantly, is that set of slides creating connective tissue between the people we're asking to trust us and the people we want to trust us, right? So what we need to show up with is a system to show people that we can be AI's chaperone, right? Not that we're going to ask AI to do everything, because AI can only produce something maybe 65% complete and accurate to my standard, right? So I have to have human beings that come behind it and make sure that it delivers at my standard, which is 110%. So we have a huge gap right now that exists between what I can count on AI to complete and what it does complete, right? And so that means a human has to show up to escort the AI through that process. And that's why I wrote a book called Human in the Room. And it's about having a sense of personal trustworthiness, which has become the only sustainable competitive advantage in this environment. In the AI era, when we're measuring everything and all we're focused on is ROI and automation, this has become the rarest competitive advantage. And I want all of you to have it. Okay, so I built a system to help people do this because solving for this problem feels awfully like fixing the climate problem, right? It's an enormous issue, and you think, okay, well, soft skills, does that mean being nice at work? No, it means that you have to show up with a system to create trust and to execute on that over and over and over again to get people to increasingly trust you more. And when they do, you'll be given more authority, more assignments, more seniority, more revenue, and more opportunity, right? So what we want to do is anchor into the system that I built. The system sits on 3 pillars. The first one, of course, is the foundation, and that's trust. It's reliability plus consistency over time. And it's the compound interest of showing up consistently like this in a way that builds trust. We'll get to more on that in a minute. The second part of the system is judgment. Are you reading the room? Are you reading yourself? Are you seeing what others might miss in a situation? And then third and finally, presence. How you occupy space, how you carry yourself, and how you connect. I dressed today in a way that would reflect more of the students I'd be spending time with instead of what I might normally wear on a Tuesday in my office, because I want you to trust me. And we know that 90% of the information that you're going to get about me comes from the things I don't say. They're nonverbal cues, right? So we want to make sure that we're sending off verifiable and relatable messaging about who we are without even saying anything. So if you're not currently thinking about how to do that, we're going to give you some tips to get there. So this is the system in one quick slide: trust, judgment, and presence. And we start with trust, which is the foundation. And in that foundation, I want to go back to that. In that foundation, we focus on the 3 C's of trust. We call this the trust trifecta. That is, as I mentioned before, competency. You have to be competent at what you do. You guys have got that box checked. You're never going to have to worry about that for the rest of your life because you went to Full Sail, right? Secondly, you want to be thinking about consistency, right? So are you consistently showing up as who you say you are and what you know how to do? Or are you sometimes doing it and sometimes not, right? So that consistency is a really key piece to success with trust building. The third piece of it is care. Do you show that you're willing to go beyond what's been asked from you and go to what's actually required in the work that needs to get done? Are you showing up in a way that you're showing passion and commitment to what you're doing, and that you're bringing your own sense of authentic individuality to that whole piece that's appropriate, right? So that is the trust trifecta: care, competency, and consistency. The second piece of this system is judgment. Judgment is about looking at a situation, reading the room, and understanding, what if I just suddenly burst in to a 2-hour presentation on macroeconomics? Would I be reading the room here very well? No, obviously not, right? So it's my job to read this room, show up. What if I came in yoga pants today? How would you be reacting to me as a presenter? Right? So these are choices we can all make to show up in a way that helps us tell our story even better. You all have these choices available to you all the time. And what I would hope is that I can teach you how to make intentional choices that help accelerate your career and give you more options. So as we think about judgment, we want it to be your navigation system, right? We want you to read the room. We want you to read yourself. And then we want you to understand what your values are, right? And once you understand your values well, you can align those values and execute on them with courage. And courage is what separates leaders from doers, right? So we want to make sure that you have the courage to actually stand out from the pack and lead. Now, finally, we focus on the presence triangle. The presence triangle is about how you occupy space, how you carry yourself, and how you connect to others. So I've been trying to connect to you all while I've been up here, weirdly elevated above you and very far away from you, right? So my job is to find a way to do that despite the fact that I'm far away and way up high. I can do that by making eye contact with you, by trying to agree with you, by trying to engage with you. Those are all specific choices I've made to try to connect with you, because I want you to believe in and understand this system I've built, particularly for people that are your age group. I believe this has got the potential to help us close that opportunity gap that exists between what you're going to be able to do and what's available for you, right? And that you will be able to come in and demonstrate some authority in a job interview and say, hey, you can trust me with this tech because here's the 3 ways I'm going to show up with our internal and external stakeholders to build trust. If anyone in your age group came and said that to me, you could knock me over with a feather. We see some real scary stories of people who aren't doing the things that I'm talking about here. And Phil and I are going to get into that in a minute. But I gave you a quick snapshot of what we're doing here, executing this system, and I want to take you through just this kind of point to think about as Phil and I go into the Q&A section. I really want you to think about doing these 3 simple things. Showing up, thinking about how you're going to show up in a way that tells your story, reading the room, and earning the trust of your internal stakeholders. You want to be thinking about how you're managing up so that you're earning the trust of your boss and thinking about what your boss's needs are. That's part of the situational awareness piece. And then also having the self-awareness to know that, yes, we want authentic people showing up for work, not necessarily authentically showing up at work. So we don't want to know about the fight you had with your boyfriend over the weekend at work, right? So this is an important thing to be making intentional choices about how you show up at work with passion, with alignment to your values, yes, but we want to filter it through what's appropriate for work in order to build trust. And it's not to dull the mood or make things not fun. I've had a conversation with a Gen Z member of my team who said, I really don't want to be wearing a blazer at work. It just feels so restrictive. Well, for people who are young, wearing a blazer, or if you're in an underserved population like an ethnic minority, or even if you're a woman, you might use your clothes as weapons. And one of the things I talk about in the book is dressing your calendar. So looking at what you've got going on and deciding the choices you want to make to send nonverbal cues to people based on what you're wearing that day is a very powerful way to sort of kick within your coverage and be taken seriously so that you can be considered for future roles. So I'm going to ask Phil to come up and share some space with me, and we're going to have a little open Q&A discussion about this. I'm really excited to spend the next little section with you all.
Me too. I would love nothing more. Yes, let's give Betsy a round of applause. Are we on? There we go. Wonderful. Okay, so maybe we'll get some chairs if possible. Do you want a chair? Do you want to stand? What's your preference?
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do some chairs. If we find we don't like them, we'll just change it up. We're casual around here. I couldn't help but think throughout that. First of all, it was very cool how you made this very meta, like to give us examples of what, not just what our group in person is doing to make an impression, but what you as a speaker are doing. No one is exempt from this. Correct. You're CEO of a chamber of commerce, a very prominent one. I am a Hall of Famer on this campus, but that doesn't make us any more special or exempt from these rules that are so poignant right now.
Well, and what's scary about them is that they're unwritten rules. And they were
Right.
unwritten when I came up in the world, and they're even more unwritten now. You'd think you'd be able to find them somewhere on the internet, but they're unwritten. And part of why I wrote this book is that I'm a mother to 2 adult professionals. And I thought, oh God, the world they're walking into, they have no idea that there's an operating system out there. And I wonder if they're manipulating it, if they're working within it or it's working against them. And I wrote this book because I wanted them to have a set of navigational beacons for moving through this world so that they could show up. Both of my kids have enormous technical skill. My son is a space engineer and my daughter is a nurse. No one's ever going to doubt their technical capabilities, right? But how is it especially that my son shows up authentically, but also standing out in the world of space engineering, right? That's not a people-forward business. And so he's got an opportunity to do that and really stand out, but is he taking it?
Yeah. So we've got a microphone now in this position. We're casual around here. I want to encourage you guys, hop up if you have a question. We're going to keep this really interactive, like a little discussion. We've also, I believe, we've got people online, I believe, so you're keeping an eye on that. Thank you very much. We'll kind of jump between, but any question you have that pops up in your mind is probably a question someone else has as well. And I just want to invite you to hop up here, and we'll use it as a discussion point. So, okay, first I want to say Human in the Room is the name of the book. Who is the human in the room?
So the human in the room is somebody that people want to follow, right? And one of the things, whether you like her or not as an entertainer, people feel that they know Taylor Swift. They feel like they know what she likes, they know who her cat is, and she differentiates amongst other pop stars because she lets you into her world and she shows up with her humanity. The breakups, the cats, what she's baking, all of that stuff connects with us because she's humanizing herself for us, right? And so the human in the room is someone who we can follow because we trust them. And the human in the room is somebody who we are allowing to influence us because we trust them. And it's someone we can rely on to exercise good judgment when all of my furniture is stuck on a boat in the Pacific Ocean for 6 weeks because the world is shut down during a pandemic. Right? So these are the things that are happening to us now. And we have to have methodologies for standing out amidst the noise, the technology, and the fact that there are biases against you coming into the world, A, from the technology lens, and B, by being young. And so we want to make sure that we're showing up in a way where we can earn the right to influence people, not necessarily based on how many Instagram followers we have, because we know we can buy that blue check, right? We want to be verified in real life so that people can feel that we have real authority that they can follow and that they can count on to create opportunities for them.
I love that. All of you have an advantage by being here, by the way, showing up in person. You guys are here. We also
must be present to win.
Bingo. Bingo. We've got our first question. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. My question was, how do you show that you're confident without people perceiving that as arrogant?
Also say your name and your degree program. I forgot to set the rules.
My name is Lucia, and I'm in the Entertainment Business Masters.
And she's an international student from Spain.
Oh,
yeah.
Welcome. Bienvenidos. I would say those three things that I was talking about as the components of trust: care, consistency, and competency, right? So you're going to lead with competency because you're getting a master's degree in entertainment business. We know that you're competent. We know that you are doing what you trained to do and that you have a degree that proves that, all right? So that might not be the thing that you worry about showing up with because you already have it. Where you can build trust without, what was the word you said? Without
I don't know if
coming across as arrogant?
Yeah, like you're confident, like you know that you are capable of doing the things that you're asked, but not being arrogant or like not being willing to show that you're willing to learn.
Yeah. So I think there's a couple things to be aware of. First of all, as women, we tell ourselves that it's arrogant to be confident. And so I would just say to you, be confident, because your male counterparts have no problem doing that, right? So make sure that you're not holding yourself back with any self-limiting beliefs, because as women, we're given those in our culture, and we just have to kind of work around those. But let your competency lead, and then come in behind it with the consistency, right? So are you consistently showing up in ways that are unexpected? So yes, you have this technical background with the masters, but are you showing up in ways that are creative, flexible, problem solving, areas where you can really perform as a human, and show people that you can animate all of that hard skill that comes through your master's degree? So that's consistency, and doing it over and over and over again over a period of time is like putting a deposit into a bank account, right? And I want you to think about trust as like a barrel that you're putting dry powder into all the time. And when, can I say a bad word?
I mean, you could. We could just beg for forgiveness later. Go for it.
Okay, if the shit hits the fan, then you have a huge barrel of dry powder that you can execute to solve that problem, right? And so you've got the ability to leverage the trust capital that you've built up when something goes wrong, like using a bad word at Full Sail Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I know, but
Maybe
that's
they'll just
part
bleep
of
it out.
That's part of the trust building.
Right, exactly. Okay, so then the third piece is care, right? So if you show up with an abundance of care for your stakeholders, whether they're clients, internal stakeholders, your teammates, your manager, it's funny, I'm a leader and I feel forgotten a lot of times. Nobody is saying to me, happy birthday, Betsy, how are you doing, right? Because I'm the CEO. I don't expect it because I'm the CEO, but I miss it. I'm a human too, right? And so if you show up with care, that's one of the best ways that you can blunt the effect of over-indexing on competency, which I imagine you're going to do.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question.
Yeah, great advice and great question. Yes, I want to encourage you guys, hop up. This is casual, and you have an amazing resource here that I think already you're hopefully feeling some optimism, right? As I said, you also said it's a scary job market to enter, but I like how you said this. There's good news.
There is good news.
And you're learning
You
it
guys
today.
can exploit all this stuff and get ahead of your peer group. That's what I love about it.
100%. Tell us your name and your degree program.
My name is Han. I'm in film.
Excellent.
I want to say your system, one of the three was trust, consistency, and presence, right?
Trust, judgment, and presence. Yes.
So I'm so sorry. But I want to add on, like, how do you stay consistent? How do you stay consistent being the human in the room?
Yeah.
Because consistency is not my strong suit, and I want to improve on that.
So what I would say is, out of the three, care, consistency, and competency, consistency is the hardest one for me.
Yeah.
And my teammates would tell you that. They would say Betsy's late to meetings because she's been held up in something, or it's hard for her to show up in the same way in the same time all the time. So what I would say is the great news about trust building is it's almost like a three-legged stool. So if you're showing up with an abundance of care and you're showing up with an abundance of competency, you can work on the consistency piece. And if you think about trust as dynamic, that you're constantly, and here's the scary part I want to share with you all. If you're not actively building trust, you're quietly losing it. I'm going to say that again. If you're not actively building trust, you're quietly losing it, right? So you should be thinking about, how do I show up in a trust-building way every single day, right? So do I do that through care today, maybe consistency on Friday? Am I doing it with competency today and maybe more care later on? The good news is the more of this you build up in the areas where you feel confident building it, the more you'll have available to you to draw down when you need it, right? So I would say, I don't think any of us are nailing every single one of those 3 C's every single day. What you want is and what I love about you is you clearly have a growth mindset. I would hire anyone who comes to me with a growth mindset. I'm willing to receive feedback, I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to go outside my comfort zone. I don't hire for skill. I hire for attitude. And most of my CEO friends would say the same thing. So bravo to you for already being way ahead of the pack, right? Do y'all know the misperception about your generation is that you're too precious to receive feedback? Have you guys heard this? People don't want to hire people who cannot receive feedback because why? Or they can't grow, right? And all of us want someone to grow in a role that we're hiring for. We want them to bring more to that role than they may be bringing in present day. And so what we want to see is that you've got the growth mindset to receive feedback, integrate it, and use it. I'll give you an example. I was with someone this weekend, and he said, I heard you wrote a book, and my book's about to come out April 10th. More on that in a moment. But he said, I heard you wrote a book. I said, yeah. And he said, what was that process like? I said, well, writing it was the easy part. Going through the revisions was soul-crushing. I had to go through 10 edits. Now, you guys know what edits are in this place.
Definitely.
And so it was so hard to let someone come and take a red pen to my baby. It was really hard because I thought it was pretty good and ready to go, right? Wrong. So this guy who's a musician said to me, well, did you take any of the 10 edits? What do you guys think? Should I have taken any of the 10 edits? Yes. Absolutely, right? Because what I want to do is build something that's commercially viable, not because I want to make a lot of money, but because I want to reach a lot of young people to give them, quite frankly, the cheat codes to life, which is why I wrote this book, right? And so when we have the ability to move in these three spaces, you don't have to be good at all three. You just have to show up every day doing the best you can, being aware that there's three out there you should be practicing. Does that make you feel better, hopefully?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you so much.
Thank you.
I love this. We'll take this question, and then I think we'll segue into our activity.
Okay.
Just a little heads up. Because
Okay.
it feels like we're in this nice space of building self-awareness and self-reflection. So be sure to stick around because we're actually going to do a little self-reflective activity that Betsy will lead. Okay, now to you.
Good afternoon.
Name and program and good question. I already know it's going to be good.
Good afternoon. I'm Shanara Taylor, and I'm in the computer animation program. My question kind of applies for everyone here, going into and looking for jobs and just being that new employee. Can you share some advice as far as, handling the nervousness, being that new hire?
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm going to say that will probably date me is I would start with your clothes. And what you want to do is go on LinkedIn and read and stalk that person that's going to be interviewing you to the best of your ability. What do they look like? What do they dress like? What does their Facebook say about them? You have to maybe go on Facebook and stalk them, right?
It's been a while since I logged on Facebook.
Right,
I'll do
I
it if
know.
you say
Phil's
so.
too cool for that. But that's part of judgment, right? So in that judgment, you're wanting to think about the situational awareness and the self-awareness, right? You want to prove that you know how to read the room. You want to prove that you're self-aware. Your biggest cheat code for doing that is dress super conservatively unless you're going for a strictly creative assignment. So let's use I'm going to use your outfit that you're wearing as an example. And I'm going to share with you, do you guys know who Charlotte Tilbury is? Mm-hmm. She has a huge makeup line that's a global brand. She's a global super brand, right? My friend was Charlotte Tilbury's stylist. And she kind of dresses like Stevie Nicks. Does everybody know who Stevie Nicks is? Hopefully, maybe? Okay. Kind of like a gypsy princess kind of vibe, right? Well, Charlotte Tilbury has built her brand into a multi-billion-dollar global makeup and skincare brand. My friend who dressed her said, Charlotte can't wear the Stevie Nicks clothes into the meeting with the finance bros, right? Because we've got to get X number of $1 million leverage so that we can grow this company. And Charlotte said, yeah, I don't really want to do that. She said, okay, wear the gypsy dress, but let's just put a blazer on top of it, right? So we don't want you to snuff out who you are in that process, right? Today you're dressed like a student. When you go to interview for that role, you have that one shot to show people that you've read the room and you've read yourself within the room, right? And what that could look like is putting a blazer on over what you're wearing. You're showing us a lot of creativity. I love it. It's fun, right? But maybe pop the blazer on to show, I'm going to just give this a little bit extra effort to show you I know how to read who's reading me, and then I know how to respond. Then you're showing you're not too precious to receive feedback. You're showing that you know how to have good judgment, right? And in my book, I talk about the real dearth of good judgment that's out there. We all have so much data. What we don't have is discernment. We don't have the ability to say, what do these data points mean? What do they mean for my brand, my boss, my friends, my stakeholders, my family, my country? All of these things, what does that mean? And it's your job to be the human in the room saying, here's what it means. And when you have a boss one day, go to your boss and say, Phil, I've noticed these things are happening. Here's where I'm a little concerned. So here's the plan I've put together that we might execute. There's no waste of time in doing that because all you're doing is showing that you're a person who becomes what? Indispensable. The more you work outside of the AI, the more you work outside of the tech to say, here are the things we should be concerned about. For you, it might be, we've been experiencing a technical glitch. I'm worried we might not meet a production deadline. So I prepared an A, B, and C scenario for you, boss lady, boss man, so that you would know what's up ahead as an iceberg. AI can't do that. It's not going to tell you because it doesn't have enough information. It doesn't know how to decide. It just knows how to tell you things, right? And also some of the things it tells you are wrong. I'm a divorced lady. And if I ask ChatGPT to write me a bio, sometimes it says, I'm still married to my kid's dad, right? That's a fact that there's certain fellas out there at the time, I didn't want them to hear that because I wanted them to date me. But anyway, I think it's important that we read behind and show discernment. And that's something that you can do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great question. And great presence.
Yeah, great presence, great speaking. Y'all are a very impressive group. I love this.
You hear that? Betsy's impressed. This is the impression we wanted to make on this campus. Well done, team. On this topic, you talked about judgment being, or I've heard you say this, it's the only or the main one that can't be automated. You'll be happy to know I did a presentation earlier today with Leslie Brathwaite, and I put on the slides the things that AI can't do, and judgment is one of those things. Taste is another.
Yep.
Talk a little bit more about the things that AI can't do, because that really creates the opportunity for us as humans, and specifically this room, creatives, us as creatives.
Okay, so how many of us have either read a piece of copy, seen a piece of video, or seen a visual image that we go right away, AI made that? How many of us have done that? Y'all, we're in the dawn of AI. We're in the very beginning of it. We're not even that sophisticated at using it, and we can already tell when it's a fake. Imagine what happens next. So it's our job to show up with 10x the authenticity, 10x the humanity, and here's the problem. Y'all have been raised on a screen. I spend a lot of screen time. Do you know what is a problem now for women my age? Tech neck. Do you know about this? You're on your phone so much that you're getting extra neck wrinkles. So come on, we got to focus on these things. But what I'm saying is that this is the chance for us to show our boss, our stakeholders, our clients, you know what? Here's what the tech does. And I'm telling you, I love AI. You know I love it. I love it. And I use it every single day. I couldn't do a lot of what I want to do without it. But I have to make sure that there's a 2x, 10x model of me overexpressing in that model, right? And coming along next to it and checking it, but also telling it, no, you didn't get that right. I can't tell you how many times I've told Claude, that's not right. You made that up, right? I cannot tell you how many times I've done that. It's getting smarter now because I'm like, that didn't happen. Don't say that. But we have to actually show everybody it's our job to show everybody what the tech can't do. It can't anticipate your needs. It can't make you feel that you belong. It can't make you feel connected. And it can't make you feel safe. Right? These are the things we want in our business interactions. We want to feel connected to something. We want to feel safe and covered. And we want to be able to have that connective tissue where we don't have to have the acquisition cost of going out and getting a new client from scratch every time. We want clients to come back to us over and over and over again to drive our cost of acquisition for a client down. Now, when you've done a great job as showing up as a human and you get to my age, you don't even notice what's business and what's friends anymore. Would you agree with that? I know you're not my age, but you're at the place where there's a very blurred line between who's your friend and who's your business associate.
Well, you are both. You're a good example of both. I mean, we work together, but we're also friends. My mom is sleeping in your guest room tonight.
God, we love it. She got to see the dog's physical therapy this morning. It was just great. But what I will say is I am constantly referring business over text. I'm constantly saying, I'm connecting you and you. I think you two would be a great fit for each other. Let me know if you need anything. I write a text like that every single day. And those texts can be hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of business because these are all just my friends now. Now, when I overexpress my humanity and when I overexpress why you can trust me, that happens on its own. And if any of you guys ever want to start and scale your own companies, cost of customer acquisition is going to be all you're focused on. Because yes, if you have an enormous marketing budget, you can grow your subscriber base, you can grow your customer base, but who amongst us that's starting a business has got an unlimited marketing budget to do that? So this is another cheat code about how you can drive that cost of acquisition way down and get repeat business that will be a great scaling strategy for you.
Wonderful. I should check in. Do we have any online questions? Want to make sure we don't forget about you. We appreciate you out there participating digitally, virtually. You are still humans in the room, friends out there.
We do have a couple. We'll start with Amp from Music Production. Asks, what is one thing you would tell someone free in the business to stand out and make something out of themselves?
Free in the business?
That was the question.
What does that mean?
Maybe someone recently in their industry or in the music business, maybe someone that's just entered the market wants one practical action that they could take today.
Okay, I would say shoot video of you announcing the piece of music that you've just created. Tell people why you wrote it. Give people the backstory, right? I mean, I don't need to tell your generation that you want the backstory. That's what you guys all want. We all are advertising to you with the backstory now, right? So what I would do is if I were creating freelance music, I would send a note about, I'm sending you this sample and here's why I chose it. It spoke to me. And I would take the opportunity to read them. Again, going back to situational awareness. Here's what I've noticed about your brand. Here's what I do. Let me show you why it works. I can't even tell you, and I'm ready to start teaching off these, the absolute ick factor LinkedIn messages I get every single day.
Amen. I get them
Loaded
too. You guys
with
also get them
jargon
Yes.
that are like, oh, if you're, outbound, blah, blah, blah is not like this, I can help you with that. I'm like, I don't even do that. Right? Like you don't even know what I do. And all you've done is spit something out through an algorithm. And not only do I not want to work with you because it's irrelevant, I now want to teach off this LinkedIn message what not to do, which I'm going to start redacting their names and teach off these pieces. I can't wait. So I would say, here's what I understand about your enterprise company, whatever it is. And here's what I do, and here's the intersection set. Here's where that Venn diagram overlays, and I'd love to talk to you more about that, right? And you might have to do that 200 times, but what you want to do is stand out. Not just here's a sample of my music, let's get together, but study that company. Here's the great part. You guys have got more access to data than any human beings have ever had. You can go learn about a company or a leader in a way that I couldn't 30 years ago. You've got all of this information at your fingertips, and you can take the extra effort to study it. I'll tell you the other thing, here's my number one cheat code. Write a personalized handwritten note and put it in the mail. If you do that, it will stand out. That is the number one thing. I go into my office every day and there's a note sitting on my chair that came in the mail, and that stands out amidst all the noise. Put it in a parcel and put maybe a little memento or a candy bar you like or something in there and say why. But again, that's an example of doubling and tripling down on your humanity instead of just shooting somebody an email with a link.
Mm-hmm. So those of us that are in the room, the humans in the room, have something very special in front of them. In the remaining minutes that we have, we might have to do an expedited version of this, or at least get the process started that you guys will be able to continue independently. But let our audience, our participants, our future Hall of Famers know what they've got in front of them. I already see pens out. People are reading it.
So remember, we started with this idea that what I'm talking about is a $1.5 trillion problem. It feels so enormous. How do we start to solve it? The first step is to become self-aware. And this inventory is designed to help you see how you're showing up today in all three parts of the system. And the whole point of this is to not make you feel bad or that you're a young person that doesn't get it or kids today, whatever, right? This is about helping you understand where you can start using the cheat codes the best and fastest way to stand out amidst the noise. If you are a young person that sends a handwritten note, sit down because I'm about to get in touch with you, right? It's very impressive when someone sends me a handwritten note. I don't know a single leader that would disagree with me on that, right? So this inventory is designed to get you thinking about the system, about how you're showing up in these three components. And then if you want to learn more about what we're building and the movement that we're building to hopefully bring humanity back to the workplace after someone's taken a melon baller to it, we are here to help you along in that journey. We have content that's coming out on LinkedIn, on Instagram, through our website, through free things that we're putting out through the website. So we're here to support you. And then also if you want the advanced course in this, you can, of course, buy the book. And then we are launching a podcast early this summer. So all of that will be there available to you, but we would love for you to take a minute to go through this self-assessment and think about how you're doing in these areas so that you can start using your humanity to get ahead. So these questions including some of the consistency things we were talking about. I do what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do it. Seems basic. I know a lot of people who can't get it done. I'm just about to fire a production company who can't do that for me. And I would much rather have, as my CMO says, something I don't like quite as much on time than something that's way too precious that's delivered late, right? So this is the real world application of some of these things that you're seeing on this inventory. So you've got, about 15 questions here to get you thinking. In my book, there's an assessment in every single pillar that drills down even further on this. And then there's specific frameworks and scripts to help you get started on executing some of this.
Lovely. How does it feel to be starting a new project like this? You've given us so much. Has Betsy not given us so much to think about today and so much actionable advice? A round of applause. But the question I have for you is actually more like on a personal level. How does it feel to launch a new project when you're used to a certain degree of safety in your role as CEO at Winter Park Chamber?
Well, about a year ago, I said I wanted to do something that made me a little scared. And I hope that you will all take a turn in your life to do something that makes you a little scared. In your career, you're going to have the choice to do one of three things as your top priority in your choice of career. And I hope you choose these things intentionally. The first one that you can focus on is compensation. You might have a lot of student loans, you might have a child or a parent that needs chemotherapy, God forbid, and you need to go out and choose a job for who is going to pay you the most. There's nothing wrong with making that choice as your top priority. Another choice you might prioritize is the content of what you do. It's the sexiest game company or film company or music producer. And so you don't care how much you get paid. You're going to be 1 degree away from Beyonce, and you'll do that for 75 cents an hour, okay? That's choosing for content, okay? Or it might be that all this Full Sail training has led you to align with your values of animal safety and health. And you just want to go work in an animal nonprofit and be their video person so that they can scale up and improve health and welfare for animals across the world. That's another example of using content as your main driver for your career. The last one is control. And it may be that you're a working single parent and you've got to have a certain schedule so that you can be at your kid's school to pick them up at 3 o'clock, or maybe some other thing that you've got to have control over your schedule for. And that's choosing control as the biggest driver for your career. So all of those things will help you think through about what you're going to do. And there may be times when you just have to choose one of those three things. On top of that, though, I would love for you to do something that makes you a little scared. Because every time I've done that is when I've grown the most. And I'm in really probably the third act of my career now. And this is the act where a lot of people my age over-index towards safety and just sort of ride things out to the finish. I said that I wanted to do something that woke me up at 4 o'clock in the morning with the answer to the business problem I was trying to solve. And I can assure you that that's happening right now.
Amazing. We have just a few minutes left. I see students are working on their self-assessment, which gives me joy to see you guys not just absorbing this, but actually taking action on it. Yeah, was that a question? Yeah, hop over. We got time for your question. If students could take one piece of actionable advice, you've had the chance to meet a few of our students, or at least be in the presence of our Full Sail. You grads were unique in lots of ways, students and grads. What's one actionable or one more piece of advice you can give us specifically?
So I'll go back to something I said already, which is to be aware that trust is currency. And if you're not actively building it, you're quietly losing it. There's a lot of things we've talked about today, and I can understand how it may feel a little overwhelming. But the reality is, if you do one thing from today, I want you to start thinking about how you're building trust with your teachers, with your parents, with your friends, with the people who run your hotel or your condo association or whatever it might be, your apartment. I mean to call it a hotel. It's an apartment. What do you do to build trust? How are you signaling to people that they can trust you? And if you haven't started doing that, today is the day to start doing that. Trust is the foundation, all right? Now, when you add to it judgment and presence, it creates a flywheel that spins and continually compounds, kind of like interest in a bank account. And over time, with a number of reps of that flywheel going, you'll have trust that goes into a room, watch this, before you're even in it. You'll have trust that walks in and is your personal representative for you. What people say about you when you're not in the room will be the ultimate form of currency for your career. And that's where we want to go. So if you start with trust and then build the other two components onto it, you will have your personal PR person walking in that room for you every single time, and you don't have to pay them. Even better.
Even better. Love that deal. Yes, name, degree, and question.
My name is Calvin Carter. I am in computer animations. And with that statement, I wanted to ask you, what is your why? And what is your why to what you do things, and that pretty much destroys your limiting beliefs to something?
Oh, God, I love your question. I got chills in my arms when you asked it. My why is that I've worked with hundreds of people. I've worked in London. I've worked in the US. I've worked for huge Fortune 50 companies. I've done 2 startups. And I've watched what happens when we activate human potential by focusing on these things. And my young employees, one of whom has joined my company and is helping me scale this, I mentored her for 4 years, and she said to me, people need to know about this. And people my age, she's 27, she said, people my age need to know about this. You guys are hitting the skids in a real rough place. You have people who want to be prejudicial against you because of your age. You have machines that are really good at doing the things that entry-level people used to do. But there's also a collapsing that's happened of hierarchies and business norms that used to tell us what to do. I didn't like them. And when I graduated from college, I thought, oh, you guys have got to be kidding with all this nonsense. It was hierarchy. Guess what color suits I was allowed to wear for my first job out of college? I had 3 choices. I had black, gray, or navy. Now, would y'all like that? Those are the 3 color choices, and I had to wear a skirt in every suit with pantyhose and a heel. It was horrible. But that was a system of permission structures that was given to me, that there was no wiggle room. I didn't have to guess. We were voluntold what to do, right? Well, that's gone. You've been told on TikTok that you need to show up authentically at work. You can wear pajamas or a crop top. Guess what? You show up with pajamas or crop top at my work, I'll walk you right out the building. Your job is done, right? Now, that's going on there, and a lot of leaders think that, but they're not telling you that, and you're walking right into a trap. And so what I want was young adults who are, quite frankly, my kids' age, they're 25 and 22, to get what I was given, which was like a recipe file handed down through the generations from my mother, who was an elected official, who taught me all of this stuff in a master class when I was a teenager. So I grew up like this. So a woman born in 1944 taught me this system that's more relevant today than ever. And that's my why.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for the great question. Let's thank Betsy for taking her very, very valuable time to show up on this campus and spend time with you guys. Thank you.
I really loved it. Thank you all for your time and engagement. I've enjoyed it a lot.
We really appreciate you being here. We hope you have an amazing Hall of Fame, and we'll stick around for as long as we can, which is probably just a few minutes to say hello and get a chance to meet the humans in the room. That includes our online audience. We appreciate you as well. Also, tell us actually before we go where we can get more info on the book, which is incredible. I've read it.
So, well, I don't know if we can get.
Oh yeah, I think the computer died.
Probably went to sleep.
Yeah, it might pull up the login screen again.
Addie,
Addie, help! Then it'll
this
show
is
it
my
here.
27-year-old business partner, Addie.
Give her a round of applause as well. Addie's amazing. There we go.
Okay, let's go to, so
there we go.
You
Perfect.
can pre-order the book. It's coming out April 10th. I'd love for you to follow me on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as Betsy Gardner. I'm also on LinkedIn as Human in the Room, and I'm on Instagram as Human in the Room. So you can pre-order today, and if you follow us, we'll be sending out lots of thought leadership and freebies for you to follow along on this journey.
This book is so good, and there are so many memorable stories in it, things that I read and thought, oh my gosh, it's made me self-aware of like little but such impactful things that I can implement. I love it. You also made us a promo code. Thank you. That's awesome.
You guys get 20% off if you pre-order. For HOF20 is your pre-order code, and we would love to have you join this journey. We're also doing salon events where we actually are bringing humans into a room to talk about these things. So if you'd like to be part of a salon event, drop us a note, and we'll be sure to invite you to one of those as well.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of Hall of Fame.